Good morning, nerds. Happy Monday. I hate that saying. I don't even know why I just said that. Welcome back to HeyArcher, episode 142, here on Nerd Affiliated. If you're new here, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube. But if you're over on your favorite podcast platform, leave a great review, leave a couple stars, share it with a friend, all that fun stuff. Here at Nerd Affiliated, we bring you all the important nerdy topics, podcasts, reviews, things, everything nerdy that you need to know, In today's episode, I was going into this and I was doing the layout, which, by the way, thank you for all the great reviews last week as far as the format change to the show. But I was going through like the topics I wanted to cover, and I was like, I don't really have a lot of like major news to discuss. Like there's a couple things here and there. But on the show side, I was feeling kind of light. I was like, man, there's not a lot of things I want to talk about in current shows happening. Obi-Wan, of course, comes out this week, which is going to be major. But I was like, man, this is going to be a really short episode. And then Thursday hits, news breaks. So in today's episode, in nerd news, we'll touch on She-Hulk, my thoughts. We're going to bookend this with Marvel. At the end, the final segment will be Daredevil, my thoughts there. But in the center of it all, Austin St. John, Power Ranger. The best Power Ranger, the greatest Red Ranger, arrested. So that's going to be nerd news. Then we'll hit up what am I watching, nerd reviews, and then I'll look forward. So as always, on this Monday morning, I hope that you are enjoying your cup of Java. I'm drinking out of my Paximus mug. He's currently live streaming at the moment. Rocking some new Nerd Affiliated merch. Check that out, nerdaffiliated.com. Without further ado, let's roll that intro. All right, so again, welcome here to HeyArcher, episode 142, where we count backwards down to episode 1, where we will be on the Joe Rogan podcast. I swear in all things holy. Thank you for coming by once again. I am HeyArcher here on Nerd Affiliated. As I mentioned, reviews, podcast, unboxing videos, a live show every Thursday, 8:15 p.m. But if you're more of that toy hunter nerd that I also am one of, head over to HeyArcher1 on YouTube. That's the toy hunting behind the scenes vlog channel. So make sure to subscribe over there. Hopefully today my allergies are not as bad as they were last week. So, but I already feel it coming on. I feel it coming in the air tonight. So yeah, we'll jump into nerd news right away. We finally got a trailer to She-Hulk. She-Hulk. I don't know. I feel like I said that wrong or weird. The trailer finally dropped to She-Hulk, and very, very mixed reactions by the fan base. Now, I want to know, first of all, you tell me what your thoughts were of the trailer. Also, I'm curious, did you watch the trailer to Miss Marvel? Because I feel like nobody talked about that. So let me know if you saw a trailer for Miss Marvel. Let me know if you saw the trailer for She-Hulk. I'm assuming you did, but let me know if you didn't, of course. But if you saw Miss Marvel, if you saw She-Hulk, let me know down below what your thoughts were. So essentially, if we go back a couple of years, the TV shows were, little things that you could watch if you wanted to, but the movies were where it was at. That's where the big stars were. The big actors, the big characters, you had those. And then the TV shows like Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you wanted to watch them, you could, but they weren't necessary. now, because of the streaming age, which I am a fan of, they're bringing the two sides together and almost making them balanced, if you would. Because now, with She-Hulk, as you saw, the Hulk's in the show, right? If you think back to WandaVision, no, it didn't have Doctor Strange, but WandaVision was completely necessary for you to watch Doctor Strange. So they're kind of blurring that line and trying to get more people to be watching the app. Now, in doing so, that of course will bring out more shows, more frequency of shows. They don't want you to subscribe today, binge it, unsubscribe at the end of the month, and then come back maybe next year. No, they want to keep you going. So Marvel now is just show after show after show. The show is just coming out. And because of that, I think we have to understand there may be a drop off in quality from time to time. There may be a drop off in, my cat decided now is a good time to take a dump behind me. There may be a drop off in visuals, right? So as I'm watching everybody kind of bash She-Hulk, I'm like, it's a TV show. I could see a lot of these really mean comments coming across to a movie. Like if I'm going to the theater to watch She-Hulk, it better be like everything's got to be mint, because you're only putting together a 2-hour movie. Give me some dope graphics. Don't give me any nighttime fights. Give me the best you got. But it's a TV show. There's what, 8-9 hours worth of content. There's gonna be slip ups, and I think we have to all kind of in my opinion, we have to understand that. Just kind of let it go. But I mean, you tell me in the comments what you thought. Are you gonna just skip the show altogether because of bad CGI? I doubt it, but I'm curious to see your thoughts. I also am curious to see, are you even interested in watching the show? Because to me, and Vito made this point, and I was like, oh, I was thinking the same thing. I thought when they were like She-Hulk, attorney at law or whatever, I was like, oh, it's going to be like Birdman attorney at law, right? Like maybe it's going to be her helping different villains, different characters, to throw in a funny character who's going to be in the show, like Frogman or Toadman, whatever his name is. Not Toad, from X-Men, the one with the frog suit. He's going to be in it. So I was like, oh, maybe she's going to help all these obscure villains and characters in the legal process, But it seems from the trailers like it's going to be one cohesive story. Now, again, is that something I want to see? Not really. I'd rather see them more, maybe even sitcom style show. But I will take it because I enjoy the Marvel shows. I can't believe I'm saying that. In the year 2022, so far, I've watched every Marvel show. And even though I may not love the shows, I tolerate them. And I find entertainment in them. So I'm going to watch it regardless. Let me know down below what you thought. But the CGI is what it is. They're trying something new. We'll see how it goes. Now, let's get the heartbreaking one out of the way. The one that got me. It almost when they're never meet your heroes type of thing. We have the arrest of Austin St. John, in my opinion, best Red Ranger in Power Rangers. I am biased. I'm an OG bias. Whatever the first version of something was, I generally tend to say that's my favorite. So he was arrested. This is the first time I'm doing like I said, I'm going to borrow from people I like. D-Fran does this kind of thing. So I'm kind of borrowing this format from the legend himself, D-Fran. So this is from TMZ. I was also reading some articles at Entertainment Weekly and Hollywood Reporter, but they all kind of say the same thing. But Red Power Ranger actor Austin St. John arrested for COVID fraud. Massive FBI raid, guns drawn. So in reading this, and then I'll get to the update, he essentially, with a bunch of other people who he claims to not know, we'll find out later, they all were arrested for essentially making either fake businesses or using existing businesses to collect COVID relief funds. And in the case of Austin St. John, he allegedly got 16 loans totaling $3.5 million, which he used for personal purchases and not for the intended purchase. So even if it was used for the intended purpose, the feds claim it was obtained fraudulently. Now, I know what a lot of us probably are thinking, and that's, well, everybody got stuff out of the relief funds and everybody got the checks, whether they needed them or not. Like, what makes this different? It just does. I mean, when you're a celebrity, in any way, shape, or form, if you screw up, it's going to be front page. Even though they may have caught many other people doing this, it's going to be front page. And the sad part is, I feel like a lot of these child stars, and I mean, he was 18 when he, did Power Rangers, from a previous interview I watched, but all these child stars eventually like run into this wall, it seems like. And maybe saying all is a stretch, but I feel like so many of them run into an issue that it just seems like it's a majority. It's probably a very small amount, but they all hit this wall, and it's always sad to see. It's like, who's the next one, right? Like, who's the next one that's going to OD or get arrested with DUIs or all these kinds of things. And I think what makes it suck more is Power Rangers is like in such a nostalgia resurgence that it sucks that somebody has to still be involved in something like this. Like, you would assume already he was making money doing appearances and Comic-Cons. He's been on Dino Thunder, Dino Charge. Like, he's even back on the show doing guest spots. One would assume you didn't need to do this. But everybody's got bills. Life happens. So, it sucks. So, that was on Thursday. Now, his Instagram account posted a press release, if you would. And, I'll just read it out to you. Austin St. John is a father, husband, role model, and friend to many. The indictment detailed today is populated by a multitude of individuals, the majority of which Austin has no knowledge of and has never met or interacted with. It is our understanding that Austin put his faith, reputation, and finances in the hands of third parties whose goals were self-centered and ultimately manipulated and betrayed his trust. We expect Austin's legal team to successfully defend against these charges and lead to his ultimate exoneration. We ask that you respect the privacy of Austin's family in light of this serious situation, and thank you for your support. Now, what they're conveying here is that he wasn't the one specifically applying for these loans. That whoever runs his, I don't even know if at that point you're like an LLC, if you're just like a star like that, but for lack of a better phrase here, we'll just say his brand. So whoever's running his brand, apparently applied for these loans on his behalf to get him money. And he's saying he had no knowledge of this. Of course, this seems very weird because if all of a sudden you're getting money while everything's shut down, you're not doing appearances, you're not doing autograph signings, you're not doing photos, one would say, hey, where's this money coming from? And then if you truly did not want to be a part of this, you would flag it somehow. But alas, you got bills, family, life. So sometimes you just turn a blind eye, and it sucks. Now, what I know what you're probably thinking, or probably what you thought when this was announced, and we'll get to that. But something funny that came out of it, and messed up at the same time. They used a picture in this was the Daily Mail of Steve Cardana. I never know how to say his name right. Is it Cardana? Cardanas. They used a picture of him in the article that they wrote about that. And he actually had he's not involved in this whatsoever. He was the replacement Ranger when Austin St. John actually walked off the show. But it was just funny that they used a picture of him from the movie of all things, which Austin St. John's not in, to to say that he was arrested and all that. But coming to his aid, coming to his rescue, is the legend himself, Jason David Frank. Actually, here is also Hillary Shepard was the villain Divatox in what was that? Turbo. So she also jumped in there, saying that they used this photo for people. But Jason David Frank, you should sue them. Wait, you're on there, Steve. I'll fix this, blah, blah, blah. But that was the question that I had, you probably had, was what's Jason David Frank going to say about this? Because if you don't know, Jason David Frank and Austin St. John have kind of been butting heads over the years. Now, in the show, they butted heads originally, became friends, and then eventually Jason leaves the team. Jason, the character, leaves his team. Tommy takes over as the White Ranger. So, we remember that as a show, but it turns out in real life there also was this like rivalry. So I was curious. I feel like the world of Power Ranger fans were curious. And shout out to my boy Steve. He actually sent me a video of a live stream that Jason David Frank was doing. See, the allergies are starting to kick in. He sent me a video that Jason David Frank was doing a live stream. He actually made some comments on it, which I found very, very interesting. So let's give that a watch real quick.
I want you to watch that for one reason. Watch his whole interview and watch how he literally just hates me. Watch my interview on Comics Coliseum. And when you watch it, tell me now's the opportunity where I could jab. And I'm not going to. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When this comes out and he talks, forgive him. Straight up. People make mistakes. Certain people know how he is and all. Yeah, I'm too nice. It's just the way it is. Forgive him. Make your own judgments. Do not let it destroy your childhood dreams of Power Rangers, okay? We all make mistakes. Thank you for telling me it's time's up. Now, with that.
Now, I found that super, super interesting because, Jason David Frank, in my opinion, he paved the way when it comes to embracing the nostalgia, embracing the resurgence of Power Rangers. And he was the first one he may not have been the first one to do autograph signings, 15, 20 years later after Power Rangers, but he was the first one to become like a superstar off of it in the comic world, in the Comic-Con world, if you would. Separate from, I just had his name in my head, Adam the Black Ranger. Tell me in the comments, Bosch, right? Something Bosch, John Young Bosch. So John Young Bosch was famous in the like anime con world because he voices a lot of anime characters, but that's where the fame in that was coming from. Whereas Jason David Frank was becoming famous because he was just like, hey, Power Rangers is dope. All of you kids, you're adults now. Remember me? Let's take a picture together. Like he embraced the whole thing. So even there, as you see, his background, like he fully embraces Power Rangers. Like he embraces the past there and has made tons of money doing so and embracing it. And it took a while for some of the other Rangers to start actually doing that. And I feel like Austin St. John was one of the ones that held off the longest and just not doing anything. Now, Amy Jo Johnson also tried to distance herself eventually turned around. She was in the movie with Jason David Frank, like doing a cameo, a terrible movie. But the Red Ranger, Austin St. John, I feel like he was really trying to hold off, and eventually he goes all in. Now, I was curious, though. I was like, why is it that they do hate each other so much? Like, why is this feud a thing? So I actually looked up the interview that Jason David Frank was referring to, and this was done over at Coliseum Forum, Coliseum of Comics, if you would. And we're not going to watch the whole thing. You can go check out the interview. It's actually pretty good. And you can see here that Austin has embraced the Red Ranger, all of that stuff. And it turns out that Austin and the other Rangers were severely underpaid. And that was a rumor a lot of us knew about. I feel like that's a tale as old as time when it comes to kids' TV shows, family TV shows back in the day. Allegedly making $611 a week to do the show, while the show was making billions. So he essentially, in this interview, is talking about that. And he just finished talking about how he had to room with Zach, the Black Ranger, in real life. Couldn't afford to help his mom pay for things, whatever. So let's jump in to see what his issue is with Jason David Frank.
It succeeded massively with the first 5. And I know that David Yost tried out to be the Red Ranger, and that didn't work out. He went back, tried out as the Blue Ranger, smashing success. I know Jason Frank tried out to be the Red Ranger, failed miserably, and they hired him later to be the Green Ranger. And then later, when I made it clear that us being non-union, the cast and the crew, in front of and behind the camera, everybody, that was unacceptable. My paycheck, all of our paycheck, we were what was called favored nations, was $611.22 per week. At least based on what I claimed in taxes, that's what mine was.
Right.
And I told everybody, I said, this is wrong. The show made $1 billion with a B the first year.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to play this game. To hell with you guys. I said, let's all.
Interesting thing also, when you watch interviews around the original Ninja Turtle movies, same thing. Judith Hogue was saying how like the stunt cast, for example, getting hurt, shipped off set, bringing a new stunt person, like really, really bad. And that's where I start to feel bad for these people, because in adulthood or as they mature, you know, we remember the highlights. We remember the final product. But then on the other side, it's like that sad clown thing, you know? He's there surrounded by all this merchandise that maybe now he's making money on, but back in the day, you know, probably making garbage on it, not selling anything. To the extent that you're doing this show and you decide we need to say something. We need to stand up for ourselves because we're making so little. It's kind of that joke, like you're on the, what was it, the Joe Budden podcast, where they're like, oh no, DJ Academics was saying it. He's like, you're not a boss, you're a worker. And unfortunately, a lot of us, we're just workers. Let's continue.
All band together, let's walk off the show and convince him I didn't need to be a millionaire, but I wanted to be able to help my mom get dental care. I believed in standing up for what I believed was right. I couldn't help my mom get groceries. Right. I was living with Walter Jones, my co-star, and 2 stunt guys in a house in Glendale trying to save extra money.
Right.
Could I have lived alone? Sure. But I wanted to live with the others so I could save money.
Right.
And they wouldn't do it. And then at the end, they cut, Jason Frank, Amy, and Dave cut a side deal, probably through Frank, where after they all promised to walk with us and band together, it was only Walter Twee and I that had the balls to stand up for what was right. Right. And now the Frankendouche says to the world, you got to have thick skin if you're in Hollywood. Okay. Or you can have no standards.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that's it. I mean, that what's interesting there too is that, Jason David Frank says, dude hates my guts. Dude does not like me, but doesn't really address the point there. And I'll be frank. I don't fault Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson, David Yost, if they actually did cut a deal and stay. You're young. You're 18, 19, 20. You're on a TV show. You have the opportunity now to make more money, keep riding this train. You're a celebrity. People are probably paying you just to, again, this is pre-internet and whatever, paying you to do a birthday party. I don't know, all sorts of stuff. And when your coworker is like, hey, let's just walk, it sounds great. You want to make that emotional decision. Let's do it. Let's get out of here. And then you sit down, you think about it, and you're like, I think I kind of want to write it out. So I don't fault them, but it's sad to see when all these stars eventually, they get older, these stories come out, you realize they're not the ones getting checks every time I buy something. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. But I will take Jason David Frank's word there on, just wait it out. See what happens. See how the story unfolds. He could be innocent in the whole thing. Very well could be. So we will see, and I will update all of you as things happen there. He does address also, Jason David Frank, somebody comments like, oh, it's the Power Ranger curse because you've had people die. You had a Red Ranger arrested for murder from Wild Force. Where was that? I feel like I pulled that up at some point. Oh, here it is. I forgot about this one. So, Jason David Frank is like, no, there's no, oh, that's so wild. This dude is 2 years older than me. I guess Wild Force did come out a lot later on, but that's crazy. He's like, there's no curse. Life happens. People make mistakes. Is what it is. So, hoping for the best. We'll see what happens, and I will keep all of you posted for sure. All right. We have some good news. Something I am very, very happy about. Daredevil confirmed. This is from Variety. A couple other outlets also posted on this. The Daredevil Disney Plus series is in the works with Matt Corman and Chris Ord set to write the show. Corman and Ord most famously co-created the USA Network series COVID Affairs. And there was another show they had mentioned in here at some point, but I wasn't familiar with either show. Now, am I excited for this? Am I scared for this? Am I nervous about it being Disney Plus? Yes to all of it. Yes to every single one of those. However, I am also optimistic about it because in seeing Doctor Strange, in watching Moon Knight, hell, in watching Loki, Disney has shown that they're not afraid to take the more mature adult side to these stories. And with Daredevil, part of the love of the show was the absurd violence that you would see when you had the hallway fights, right? Every season there's a hallway fight. Him just getting beaten and bloody night after night after night. Like that's what made the show so great, was him being human amongst a world of superpowered people. Now, in coming to Disney Plus in No Way Home, which this is, at this point, if you've not seen the movie, you're probably never going to see it. So I'm not even going to spoiler alert that. In No Way Home, he kind of has a little heightened ability, like, the brick flies and he just puts his hand out, catches a brick that's like launched. So one could assume they're going to up his powers a little bit more than what we saw in the original show. But Vincent D'Onofrio aka Kingpin. They've definitely heightened his abilities, because in Hawkeye, dude takes arrows to the chest and just brushes them off. So my only the concern I have for the show really lies in, are they going to move away from the realistic, I really don't know how else to phrase it, but are they going to move away from the more realistic, bloody, violent stuff to be more comic booky, or just keep the formula the same, keep going forward? I hope it's a mix, honestly. I'd be down for a nice mix of the two, but give me more Daredevil. At the end of the day, I just want more Daredevil. So let me know down below if you're a fan of Daredevil. Let me know if you're a fan of Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Punisher. Because I was all in on Daredevil. I started watching Jessica Jones, couldn't get into it. Iron Fist, I don't think anybody likes it, but you tell me if you're a fan. Hell, if you like Iron Fist, I might even have you on the show to tell me why. Luke Cage started off good, fell off. Punisher at that point was dead to rights. The season 1 wasn't terrible, but by the time they started working on season 2, they already announced the shows were ending, and I think that really negatively affected season 2. So curious there. So we went 34 minutes almost on just news, because there was a lot of stuff there. But as I mentioned on the tail end of the show, there isn't too much in the segments of what I'm watching and to review. So we'll kind of just fly through those. Again, thanks for being here. Hope you're enjoying your coffee this morning. Now, under what I'm watching, 2 things stay. 1 thing gets added in. And actually, one of the things is leaving. So Halo just wrapped up. I'll give you my thoughts in the next segment. Strange New Worlds continues on. Loving it. There won't be any review this week on that, but just so you know, episode 3 happened. Still all in on Strange New Worlds. The new show that the lady and I are watching, which isn't a new show like in airing, but new to us that we're watching every episode, Love After Lockup. It's exactly what it sounds like. People fall in love while one person's in jail, and the show follows them getting out of jail and seeing if they can actually live together, get married, all that fun stuff. So I'm absolutely loving it. It's such bad TV, but I think that's what I like about it. I'm falling into this like reality TV rabbit hole where like the cringy stuff that there's a gimmick to, I'm liking. Not the housewife stuff, that I don't care about that, but anything that's like just out of the ordinary, you know, real people, real problems, like falling in love with a pen pal that's in jail, I'm all in for that. So maybe I'll give reviews on that show later on at some point. Maybe on the podcast if I get that off the ground with the lady. Now, the review section. This here is dedicated to the show I felt good about when it started and told all of you, give it a shot. Just give it a shot. And once again, this is rare, but once again, I was wrong on the show. I need to take a sip of coffee for this. Halo just wrapped. Halo just wrapped at 9 episodes. It's rare that a show wraps on an odd number. It turns out they actually cut an episode down, I guess, to make it 9. It was supposed to be 10. I don't know what I watched in episode 9. I'm going to spoil it for all of you, because I feel like anybody who is trying to go spoiler free into Halo has probably already watched it. All right. First off, the last time we talked about the show, I was talking about Quan Ha. the side quest, side story character who was also a chosen one on that planet that I don't even remember the name of because it wasn't important whatsoever in the show. Her whole story arc's not even in this episode. This is the final episode. I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the cutout. But the fact that she's not in the final episode, she's not involved in the final conflict, the final resolution, it begs me to question, why was she in the show whatsoever? Like, why did he have to protect her? Why did he have to help her? All of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, she helped him caring about somebody for the first time, helped springboard him saying there's something more to life, I guess. Like, that's really it. But when it comes down to it, she played no part in anything whatsoever. And they just pushed her out. Gone. Done. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So we get to, they tried to push this urgency on us. Master Chief and Maki, however you say her name, because she doesn't matter either. They're like, we got to get out of here, right? Like her, Master Chief, Cortana, they're like, you know what? The UNSC is effed up. We got to get out of here. We got to get the relic. We got to get we got to just escape all of this. And they end up sending Silver Team to bring in Master Chief. Now, of course, Kai ends up being like, no, we got to help Master Chief. He would never betray us, blah, blah, blah. You saw that coming. Freaking Maki she's like trying to get the relic to escape. The Marines stop her because at this point she has all her emotions are back. She's like, I care about humans. I care about life, all this stuff. They're like, no, you're not going anywhere. And proceed to like electrocute the living shit out of her. Like, she's on the ground. They're just shocking her. And eventually she's like, you know what? Screw it. Don't care anymore. And now she turns angry again, starts attacking people, killing people. One, she doesn't have her laser thing on her finger anymore, right? She got rid of that. Remember, do any of you who watch the show remember those little like worm things that were like the Flood, but not the Flood, that she used to take over that ship before? Whatever happened to that? They just like forgot about that. Like, she's there. She took out a couple Marines. She hesitates at one person to pull the trigger because she wants to know where the Covenant ship is. But that whole gimmick thing was gone. Like, why even take over the ship at that? Like, they literally, like, it seems like they forgot what they wrote as they proceeded through the show. So she ends up leaving with the artifact to go back to the Covenant so they could find out where the Halo ring is. Spoiler alert, we don't go to Halo in the season finale. I'll just tell you that now. And then Kai goes after freaking the doctor in order to, I want to find out who I am. The doctor escapes on an escape pod. The ship's going down. They create this drama of Kai on the ship going down, like, oh, she's going to die. But meanwhile, in previous episodes, these people are jumping from orbit, crash landing on Earth or whatever planet they're on, and they're fine. So, of course, the ship crashes. They're like, oh, no, Kai's dead. And then she comes out. She's alive. No shit. They go after the Covenant ship, go to this Covenant world. There's a whole scene there for no reason. And do an orbital drop, like, right after. And proceed to attack this palace where they're doing the ceremony to find out where the ring is, blah, blah, blah. Now, once again, Halo does well with the action. Like, they go back and forth between first person view, third person view. They go to some shots where it's first person view of somebody else watching the fight happening. First person, seeing the machine guns, it's dope. The fight scenes are dope. But eventually the Silver team starts to get taken out. They kill Maki or whatever. She's done. And Master Chief is like, really? Now cat number 2 is taking a dump behind me. So now Master Chief is like, I got to get Silver Team out of here. I got to get the relic out of here. I can't figure it out. And Cortana's like, you can only choose one. You can't take the team and take the relic. Because remember, if he grabs the relic, energy blast goes off, he loses consciousness, all that stuff. So he says, I can't do it. I can't do it, but you can do it. And proceeds to go out there and get killed so that Cortana can take over his body, kill a bunch of people, take the relic, because when she's in control of his body and touches the relic, nothing happens. Doesn't make sense, but she touches the relic, grabs it, controls their ship to come down, which she could have done before, I guess. I'm not sure why that changed. And then Silver Team on their own get up and help each other get on the ship. So I'm not sure why he had to die to do that. She could have said, or he could have thought, because he's supposed to be this great military guy, he could have legit just said, all right, I'm going to help carry this girl who got her freaking arm blown off. You two carry the relic. Cortana, call the ship. Let's get on. Let's get out of here. Right? Like, it's literally what they could have done. No, gotta kill him to resurrect him with her consciousness so that the same thing happens. Nothing changes. They get on the ship. They escape. And Kai looks over at Master Chief and she's like, James, are you in there? Or whatever they gave him the name of. And he just kind of looks over, looks back. Camera zooms in on the visor that's smashed. And that's it. Show has ended. Terrible. I probably made the show sound more interesting in dialogue, in me explaining it, than if you had watched it. I don't understand how they did that. I truly don't understand how they did that. I hope that the show gets a season 2, only because I'm hoping that they make changes to the show. I'm hoping that now that Master Chief, as we knew him, is dead, we could assume, and Cortana, I don't even know if she's like in control or if she just gave the body like its own consciousness. I'm not sure, but maybe now we don't get the mass removal. We don't get the whole like, oh, I feel things. Like, maybe we don't get that stuff, but damn, this show, terrible. You tell me what you thought down below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? My friend Howard actually liked the show. So I'm curious to talk to him more about it, to see his thoughts on the finale. But he liked it, not in a ironic kind of way. So I'm curious there. All right. So before we get to our final segment, I was going to talk about Doctor Strange a little bit, but I am saving that for the boys. So hopefully this week we can actually record something around that. We were talking about that in a side chat. So have no fear. My Doctor Strange thoughts and review will drop soon. Now, looking ahead, we have next week. It probably won't be a Hey Archer. It will be either a Rambling with Anthony, Snapshot with Sal, or if it is a Hey Archer, it's going to just be strictly Doctor Strange. It won't be this format. So that's the current plan. It may change. this Thursday, 8:15 p.m. here on nerd-affiliated HeyArcher Live. I'm excited for this. I'm going to say it. I don't want to jinx it. I'm going to say it. This week is Star Wars Celebration. General Kenobi, not Ewan McGregor, but General Kenobi's bunker, will be at Star Wars Celebration and may call us in from Celebration on HeyArcher Live. I'm hoping it happens. We need that real time from the ground floor, from the field, on the scene. We need his thoughts. So I'm curious. General Kenobi's bunker, have a good time, have a good flight. You're going to go broke at that convention, because I would definitely go broke at that convention. But that should be a fun time, should be a fun episode. So look forward to that. Subscribe if you've not done so. And that's it. That's our show. So much of it went to the Power Rangers, but I feel like as a Power Ranger fan, as you can see behind me, I had to talk about it. I feel like a lot of you were curious about it. So hopefully everything works out on that end, but we'll see what happens. Either way, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you've not done so. Let me know down below your thoughts on everything we talked about. More importantly, subscribe to everything, follow, share with a friend, and I'll talk to you nerdy person, you. I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace.